What's up, boys? What's up, boy? India! India! The land of many things and really cool anime fans. Indian characters are far and few between in anime. There's some in darker than black. And a surprisingly huge amount in Sebastian. Probably the closest I'll ever get to Connor.
I'll do anything you want.
But this was all about to change with India's first and its very own anime movie. Karmachakra or Karmachakra.
Karma what now?
That's what I'm saying, brother. Also, I can almost see what you're reacting to. Next time, make it a bit more smaller so I don't know what the fuck you're watching. Karmachakra is generally regarded to be the first and the only anime made in India. Is it the first anime made in India? No. But it's the first one which is fully funded and fully independent. The first trailer came out in 2017, which I can't seem to find anywhere, but the second trailer, or the actual trailer, was released in 2019. Even though the animation was a bit shaky, I was still very excited for the project, and in about a year or so, the first 20 minutes dropped. And then, the whole page just went radio silent. There was the second episode and the third episode never came out. What happened to the anime? What happened to the studio? Are they ever going to release it? The last two videos uploaded on the channel are these two. One of them is a drawing live stream where they talk about dabbing.
You know, the first time I learnt about the dab, someone was telling me this is called a dab.
And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, I know this pose. Is this the pose Giorno makes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this pose.
The other one is this video where they recommend anime, and it's obvious that they know their stuff with recommendations like Techno Haze, Desert Punk, Wolf's Rain, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yare does.
And in the video, for some reason, he does the air quotes like this, and I've never seen anyone do air quotes like this. What the fuck?
What is the first thing you would do if you got the power to control anybody just by looking at them? Yeah.
I know what kind of man you are.
There's nothing about it on my anime list, and the only thing I could find is the discussion post, which quickly turns into them arguing if it's even an anime because it was made in India, and one of them recommends calling it indie and something made in America to be called Ameri.
Anime is a prime example of why two nukes just wasn't enough.
But the last ever interaction that I could find about the anime was this comment by one of the animators. And then there's this video. The whole first 20 minutes of the actual fucking movie. Let's look at it. So roll the freaking intro. The movie starts with our budget Mahito running somewhere. He then meets this girl and they start playing. That's when
I'm not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. I am the one who knocks.
don't worry, she's not dead. And then they both start running away.
Yeah, that's what I would have did.
To this guy who seems to be having his own share of troubles. Also, this is my favorite shot in the whole movie. He gives them a cloth and then they leave him behind, so presumably he's dead. Then the opening drops and it slaps harder than my mom. Even the visuals go from okay to a fully fledged anime production. The opening is performed by Tanisha Ganguly and has been recorded and mastered by the GOAT himself, Rojiroshi Basu. He was responsible for coming up with the idea of the anime, bringing the whole animation team together, and basically starting the whole fucking anime. When asked about the opening in an interview, he said that he came up with the track about 6 years ago and he made it way before the anime's first lines were ever drawn. He, at the time, had no idea that he was going to use it for an anime opening, but when the anime was produced, he, with the help of his mom, came up with the lyrics and then Tanisha performed the whole song. Straight up fucking banger though, I love it. Then it cuts to the university classroom, but you might notice something is off. Wait a minute, that's not Japanese. The whole thing is in Bengali. And pro tip guys, don't fucking date Bengali girls because they'll do their fucking black magic on you. And you're nice to them, but they never really care about your feelings. No. You're not wrong. It's always my fault, isn't it? I mean, you're never wrong. It's like I'm always talking to a fucking wall. Sorry. The whole thing is in Bengali. And when asked about this in an interview, he said the reason that the show is in Bengali is because, well, he's Bengali. and that was the plan from the very beginning. Back in the classroom, the professor talks about some guy who started observing similarities between hallucination cases in mentally ill patients. The similarities was that they all referenced ancient mythological texts and characters which they never even have read. He called them the archetypes. He explains that these hallucinations are memories that are deeply embedded in the brain. He talks about how in our culture, the gods may be an example for this archetype. He gives example of a goddess who is worshipped in different figures and different forms in different religions and different regions of the country. He calls this phenomena synchronicity. If you ever watched Baki, they also kind of have the same thing. The other characters being just an outline, maybe this deep allegory for how Ganga has cut out everyone in her life who's not in direct contact with her, because the last time she let someone in, she had to go through something really traumatic, so she just cuts everyone off now. And maybe this is just a commentary on how we're all sucked into our own little worlds and don't even notice about what's going on in the outside world. But I just think it might just have been for budget reasons. Also, who the fuck animated the professor, huh? Why is he so fucking hot? What's going on? And he might be the only character who looks like an actual anime character. There's a short scene that I skipped over earlier where Ganga confesses to the professor that she's an orphan and he invites her to her home. My take on this character is that he's kind of like Madison from the Brothers Son show, where you're made to believe that she's good at the start with her jokes and everything, but then she turns out to be one of the bad guys in the end. Wait, I don't think any of you got that reference. It cuts to a cafe called Brew Joe. I'm not gonna take it. I know it's way too easy and it's right there, but I'm not gonna take it. Not gonna lie, the next few minutes are these friends having fun, hanging out and just yapping, and then Ganga comes in and ruins the whole mood wow, we get it, you're an orphan, you don't have to bring the whole mood down, move on. We're showing the professor again and he's drinking with a woman. Her name is Ma Devi. She was the one who was calling him earlier. She tells him that he needs to come back to the place that he used to work 15 years ago. And ever since he and his subordinate left, it's all been downhill for the department. She calls this a detective agency, but I think it's much more than that, because she brings up how the professor has time to meet Ganga and talk to her but not take his old work back. And I think the professor is like a retired archetype who used to find and seek out others like him, or maybe just kill them. He might have just been the bad guy. But the professor says he's not interested in working there anymore. And dude, I don't know what the fuck happened, but the whole production goes crazy. This whole segment, it looks like it's been made by a AAA anime company. And look at the characters, they don't even seem remotely similar to what we saw at the start. After talking about changing her shifts, Ganga is walking home with her friend, and that's when she hears the name Rick. We learn that he's dead and she's going to be attending his funeral. She says that she used to be super close to him when they were in the orphanage, but when he left her, she never really looked for him until she got the news of his death. Remember the subordinate from earlier? I think that was Rick. Rick was working under the professor. I know I've been throwing around a lot of theories, so in the next segment of the video, I'm just going to put all of my theories together and make... I know I've been throwing around a lot of theories, so in the next segment of the video, I'm going to put all my theories together and maybe come up with what the anime story could have been. The funeral takes place, and then there's this insinuation by the father of the orphanage that Rick lashed out against some people who wanted to tear down the orphanage and build a skyscraper. And again, the production is awesome. These close-up shots, they're so fucking good. But then you have something like this for some reason. And there's this weird emphasis on the scarecrow, and this makes me feel like it's kind of important to the story. Oh, and also, someone was following Ganga the entire time. The next day, she gets a text on her phone, and surprisingly, it's from Rick. She's disgusted that someone is pranking her with his phone, but then he mentions the scarecrow.
Hello, I am Irene Yeager. I'm starting the rumbling right now.
Attack on Titan. Oh yeah, Attack on Titan. With all that out of the way, let's talk about the story it could have been. Remember I told you that there was this 2017 trailer that I couldn't find anywhere because it's been deleted? After some digging around, I found it, and it adds so many new scenes to the lore of the whole story. I'm gonna be yapping a lot in the next segment of the video, so here's some Subway Surfers footage to keep you entertained throughout the whole thing. The name of the show is Karmachakra, and Karmachakra means Wheel of Fate. Karma is the consequences of your action, And there are 3 different types of karmas. There's Sanchita karma, or karma of the past. There's Prabudha karma, or karma of the present. And there's Kriyamana, the karma of the future. I know I'm grossly simplifying these concepts, but I think this is how they're going to structure the entire show. The first segment is going to be about Sanchita karma, or karma of the past, catching up with Ganga. Like Rick texting her, or like in the trailer how she gets her powers, which might be a direct hand-me-down from her own mom. The second part may be about how Ganga finds out about her past and what happened to her family, how did she get these powers, and what does these powers mean. The third part may have been Ganga fighting against the organization who put her in this position. Like, there's this scene in the trailer where Ganga is captured and she seems very smug, like she knows how to use her powers, and like she almost wanted to get caught. And it seems like she's making new karma for her future. I think this is all connected. Like, there's 7 different chakras in your body, and I don't think I have to explain what a chakra is. If I have to, they're like different power points in your body which give power to your brain, your organs, your body. God, I sound like Dr. K. The source of all these chakras is the root chakra, present at the tail end of your spine. And what does this do? It promotes the feeling of heat, firepower. Ganga gets her powers in the presence of Lord Durga, and I think this is how each of the archetype gets their power, in the presence of a god, and I think there's 7 different archetypes. We all know the plot now until Ganga gets a text from Rick, and this is what I think will happen in the next 60 minutes. Ganga chases after Rick, but then she is interrupted by the professor, who takes her to our house, and then they will have like a long conversation about people with powers, and that's when the professor will get kind of suspicious that Ganga might have powers. And then after that, Ganga will go to the scarecrow, but Rick wouldn't be there. That's when Ganga might get kidnapped. Why? Because in the trailer there's this scene where one of the kidnappers asks, how many times do you think you can escape from us, which means Ganga has already escaped from them. The kidnapper will probably reveal that he's also a power user and how he killed her mom and why he kidnapped her dad. Ganga will probably somehow escape, and then we'll cut to the professor's backstory. This is where we'll learn how he knew Ganga's father, and maybe we'll also get a reveal that he's also a power user, and we might also get a reveal that he might be the bad guy. We might also get some scenes of Rick being involved with the professor, like showing us that he was the professor's subordinate. These 2 characters might be what's left of the agency that Mahadevi was talking about. I don't know how to feel about Mahadevi yet, because like in some of the scenes she's shown to know Ganga and her father, but maybe something about that might also be revealed. If it wasn't obvious, Rick is definitely a power user, maybe even one of the strongest ones, maybe even stronger than Ganga. They 2 will somehow meet each other and Rick will train her on how to use her powers. And then I think something happens and Ganga loses control of her powers, because there's this scene where there's fire everywhere and she's extremely disappointed. And I think after seeing that, the professor will get excited and join back into the agency. I think this is when he'll use the agency for bad, or even just to capture these archetypes, to study them. Some other things might happen, and then Ganga will defeat the professor. But I think Rick is going to die, like sacrifice himself, because he was never there for her. So he sacrifices like an act of apology, and then the story will end. That's it.
Sort of fun, lover boy, sort of fun, pedophile. Oh my god!
The simple answer is distribution problems. The creator said that he went around pitching the idea to different streaming services. He even showed them the first 20 minutes of the show, and they loved it. But these streaming services, they needed like extreme graphic violence or like the oversimplification of plots, and refusing to do any of that, they probably shelved the whole project. Now you might be thinking, why don't they just release it on YouTube? 1, holy shit, you're so fucking entitled, and 2, they already answered this question in a now deleted FAQ, which they ironically wanted everyone to share around. The answer is that the anime is too expensive to do that. I mean, there's 7 different animators doing everything by hand. They all need to be paid. And anime production isn't cheap. Like, an episode of an anime costs 200 grand to make. I'm sure this didn't cost as much as that, but still, it must have been super expensive to just put on YouTube and just to rely on YouTube ad revenue. They also say something about crowdfunding, which is really funny. The company would just end if they put it on YouTube. It's been 5 years since the first trailer came out, and anime is more popular now than it's ever been. All we can do now is wait and to see if they ever decide to release the project. And that's it. That's the end of the video. And if you somehow stuck around, thank you. Consider subscribing. Who knows, I might even make another video. Be kind to someone today. Bye!